Welcome to Elevate Your Leadership Presence, Mastering Confident Communication for Deeper Connection and Impact. And we are so excited to have you with us today for this dynamic 1 hour workshop where we will explore how to get out of your head and deliver your message in a clear and direct way that deepens connection and trust. And our host today is CanWCC member Ame-Lia Tamburrini, and she will lead us through an interactive workshop designed to stop being preoccupied with the thoughts in your head and leave people wanting more of your leadership presence. And now let me introduce you to your host today, CanWCC member Ame-Lia. Ame-Lia Tamburrini has dedicated her life to creating brave spaces for people to be seen and heard. As a master facilitator, coach, and speaker, Ame-Lia has guided leaders at all levels through transformational processes that create cultures of belonging with intentional, embodied change leadership skills. With over 20 years of experience facilitating conversations around the globe, she brings a unique style that bridges worldviews and restores connection. Ame-Lia is the CEO of Hum Consulting, the current co-chair of Female Wave of Change Canada, and a best-selling contributing author in Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose. So without further ado, let's welcome Ame-Lia. Hello, Amy.
Hello, hello, hello. So grateful to be here. Thanks, Jenna, for that amazing introduction. And yeah, just setting up this space to have a brave conversation, because really this conversation takes courage, right? We're going to be speaking with each other in breakout rooms, but we're also going to be showing up as our true authentic selves. And that doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always feel safe. And there's lots of history and stories that we carry in our bodies, especially as women, when it comes to sharing our voice. And so that's what we're going to dive into today. Not so much into the deepness of, why this is so challenging for so many of us, but I want to acknowledge that there's a layers of conditioning here that we're working with. And so I'm going to give you a tool today that's going to, in a way, bypass all of that so you can get to showing up in your full presence when you are delivering your message. Because I believe that every single one of us has a message to share. It's why we came here. And too many of us, especially as women, are holding in our voice or communicating in a way that is causing confusion. And so we really want to get the messages clear so that that impact that you came here to make magnifies. That's what I want for all of you. So I'm going to share my screen here and we will get going. So, amazing. So we're here to elevate your leadership presence, mastering confident communication for deeper connection and impact. Where we're headed today is we're going to first talk about why this matters. And we've talked a little bit about that already. And then I'm going to bring you a presence practice that you're going to work on with each other that is going to transform how you show up in every single conversation. And then talk a little bit about how do you bring this out into your own workplaces, home places, wherever those spaces are that you want to be sharing your message. Okay. So we are having a courageous conversation here today. And I believe anytime we come together as a group, it's important for us to get rooted in an intention for how it is we want to be together. I think so much harm is caused in our world because we show up into spaces and we're not thinking about what am I contributing to this space. And so in the work that I do, creating cultures of belonging in organizations, we're always working with agreements. And agreements for me are a collective intention for how do we want to be together. So the first one is to invite in curiosity. Curiosity, when curiosity is present, judgment cannot exist. And so, especially in this conversation, let's be real. The judgment is mostly focused on ourselves. Oh, I didn't say that right. I need to speak better. I'm not clear enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not whatever enough. And so we want to just quiet that voice today And anytime those stories start to come in, to get curious, well, is that true? Whatever that story is that I'm telling myself. Or if somebody else shares an opinion that is different from our own, to say, wow, I wonder how that person's life experience might be different than mine, versus defaulting into judgment, which is a natural protective mechanism that we all have in our bodies. So we can disrupt that, though, when we invite in curiosity. The second one is to be present. Be present. Gift yourself this time of no distraction, of just really being here with this amazing group of individuals. So shutting down your notifications, your emails, all the other windows that might be open, turning your camera on, please, if that is a possibility for you, to really be here. Keeping stories sacred is all about just honoring that gift, that when we're sharing with each other, that it's a sacred moment. People are sharing words, and our words have power, our words have meaning, and presence in this day and age is really hard to come by. And so if you do find yourself distracted and here and there today, I get it, because it's our habit. And so we're disrupting that habit today. And one way we do that is really listening to each other and keeping our stories sacred. So anything personal that's shared stays here in this room. If you want to share something, a technique, you want to share an aha with somebody, absolutely. Please do that. And then the last one is radical acceptance. Radical acceptance. This is really about honoring who you have been in the past, who you are today, how you show up today, and just fully accepting it as what it is. When we cannot accept how we have been or how things are today, we get stuck, and it's hard to open that door for a new possibility. So if you've been a nervous speaker, or an unclear speaker, or they're just reactionary, which I'll share my story in a little bit. I fully understand that, especially in those difficult conversations, just to be like, okay, yeah, that is how it's been. That is how I am right now. And then from that place, we can birth something new. So show of hands, thumbs up, or wave, or whatever, however you want to indicate. Are you in agreement to strive to hold these agreements for our circle today? So just, thank you for that. Nods. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you. And please take these agreements out into your other spaces, because I think they're amazing. This is the law of cause and effect in action, or the law of attraction in action, however you want to communicate it. But when we set our intention, we're changing the energetic signal that we're sending out, and we receive that in return. So it's like a win-win. Awesome. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about why I'm here in this space. And then I want to know more about why you're here in this space. So I grew up in a home that had a lot of fighting in it, verbal, physical. There was a lot of addiction as well. So not a super safe space for me to show up as my full self. Layered on top of that was a message for me as a girl that it was not okay for my voice to be heard, that my special role was to be quiet and to look pretty. And some of you might have had similar experiences. I know I'm not the only one that holds that story. But what that environment had me do when I was able to emerge from that place was avoid conflict at all costs and avoid speaking at all costs. I literally stopped speaking. And so when I was in grade 5, when my parents finally separated, I was in speech therapy to learn how to talk again. Once I learned how to talk, these patterns continued in my life. I hated public speaking. I avoided raising my hand in class. I, yeah, speaking in general was just not something that I enjoyed. And in my relationships, avoiding conflict, I was I was the peacekeeper, became a mediator at a very young age. And so I'd be the one that would always keep the waters calm, but that meant I wasn't expressing what I wanted or my thoughts and ideas or anything like that, and especially not my emotions. And so this ended up years later. I awakened to the fact about how much havoc those two stories were causing me in my personal life and in my professional life. So, from a professional perspective, I got into some work that required me to speak more, to give presentations, etc. And I would get to a point of almost passing out before every single time. I hated it. I loved once I got going. There was something in that was drawing me, but it was so terrifying. And I hated having to go through that experience every time. So it was actually my employers that said, "Oh, might you consider going to Toastmasters to support you in this journey?" And I'm so grateful that they offered that to me. And Toastmasters was brilliant. I highly recommend it for anybody who's getting into speaking. So many tools and techniques to get you through that hurdle of the fear that is present. And what Toastmasters did not teach me was what we are going to get into today, which is actually more recent work that I'm doing with my current coach, Rachel Jane Groover. And this work has really transformed everything that I've been doing up until now to get to a point where people really are listening. People are invited in to be with me. So some of you have businesses that, well, just by a show of hands, how many of you do have businesses or work in the world that require you to speak on some level? You're facilitating, you're up there on stages. Yeah, amazing. So this work really will support you in that journey, whether it's enrolling people in, getting your message delivered more clearly, all of those things. So today I am a keynote speaker. I am a facilitator that goes into organizations and transforms cultures. And oh gosh, I've just forgotten what else I do, but there are other things that I do. But all of it requires speaking. And so for me, this has been transformative, not only in my professional life, but absolutely in my personal life. And many of you today, you'll find resonance in what we talk about in that personal aspect of your life. It's all interconnected. But that was the pain point that actually really had me go deeper into this work. So with that, I'd love to engage in some interaction here in the chat. So when you are giving a presentation or when you're about to give a presentation or have a difficult conversation or give somebody feedback, whatever that is for you, whatever it is that brought you here, what is it that you pay most attention to when you're preparing for that experience? So please put that in the chat. What are you most paying attention to when you're preparing to talk or to have a difficult conversation? My script and the people who are attending. Yep. Clarity of my message and my nervous system. Yeah. Is that like calming the nervous system, like getting grounded? Communicating clearly as English is not my first language. Yeah. Questions or responses I might get from others. Yeah. And how will I respond to that? How is the other person going to react? What are they going to say? Oh, yes, especially in difficult conversations. I resonate with that. Research I want to need to talk about. Will I touch on acknowledging who I need to acknowledge? Nice. The content, the bullet points, the outline, making sure people understand me because I have a strong accent. Yeah. My nerves and anxiety. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Knowing my audience, preparing the script and the language to use. Yeah. So, is anybody picking up a theme here? In general, when we're preparing for these things, we're very much focused on what is going to come out of our mouth, right? We're focused on the words, on the script, on the message we want to deliver. And so that's our conditioning, that's our training. Because at some point, we all picked up the message that just being here was not good enough, that we had to come across as smart, as intelligent, respond to questions perfectly, all of that stuff, which is mind chatter. And I'm not saying we don't want to do that. Of course, it's helpful to know what you want to say and to have effective presentation of that. But what I would like us to embrace today in this hour are the words of Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And it's that last sentence that is the one we're going to be honing in on today. Because what's true, and you can check in for yourself if this is true for you, for the people that you follow and really admire in the world, is that people follow others because they're inspired by their presence and their way of being in the world, not by their credentials or how smart they sound, or even what position or title they hold. Right? A lot of people have big titles and they stand up on stages, and you're not drawn in, you're not magnetized. That's very common in our political world. So, just taking a moment to do a little bit of self reflection here, to ask yourself, how many opportunities have you said no to because you didn't think you had the credentials, because you didn't think you were smart enough, or because you didn't have some kind of a position or a certification? So, again, this is just a moment of self awareness to say, how much are we buying into that way of being in the world that has very much been conditioned as the way of being and what is important, versus really focusing on, am I here in this moment? Am I connected to the people in this room? And having that be more important than all the other things that we think we need to prove. So we're about to get into the work of practicing presence with each other when we speak. But before we do that, I want you to get clear on your why. The why is that thing that you're going to fall back on when things get challenging, when things get difficult. And it's uncomfortable. If this is a new skill for you, learning anything is uncomfortable. It's meant to be. That's how we grow and expand. So, why is this important for you? In other words, what is this going to change for you if you could be present, worry less about the credentials and how smart you're sounding, but you could speak clearly and concisely and really have your message land, or stay connected to that person that you're in a difficult conversation with? So, if you want to share in the chat, I would love to hear some of these whys. It might be something that you want to share or write down for yourself, just to keep note of as you move forward. But I'd love to hear one or two whys, or a couple of whys in the chat, if you don't mind. And if actually somebody wants to unmute and just share their why too, that would be cool to get somebody else's voice in this space. I want to show up genuinely in every interaction and have my beliefs, feelings come through clearly. Yeah. And Shannon, I'm going to encourage you for yourself just to take that another step further for you to be like, okay, and what would that provide for you? Why is that important? And everyone can do that because often the why, like the real why, is about 5 whys down. But that's a great start. I want people to focus on what I have to say rather than my accent. Oh, yeah. I feel that. Many times people have told me, you have a beautiful accent, but I understood nothing of what you just said. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Fanny, for sharing. I want to create inclusive spaces for everyone, but I know I can't do this on my own. Yeah. Annie, come on in.
You invited an unmute, so um yeah, I feel like I want to feel more confident in my abilities. Like this is the realm that I'm in also in facilitation, and I have trouble just owning that and like being in my power and trusting that and my power meaning like the skills of holding space and making people feel at ease, and just like I want to know that that's enough. And then in terms of from a business standpoint, I need that to lead to income, which has been in my particular field has been really challenging.
Mm, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Anybody relating? I'm seeing some heads nodding. Yeah. That really got me right in the heart. Your words. Thank you for sharing. It's when I really sit with it, to really like sit in the fact that so many of us, especially as women, feel like our voice in and of itself is not enough. And I know that we're still working with, and many people in particular, it's not actually safe for them to articulate their voice in many spaces. And then for the rest of us, we're carrying around that history, that ancestral trauma that says it's not okay just to be you, and to show up in the room, and your presence is what is going to make the impact. I work with that a lot as well. So I fully understand where you're coming from. Yeah. We're still often silenced or belittled. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's do something about that. Let's learn this tool together so we can have our voices be heard. And we're going to start with just this conversation on, well, what are we even talking about? What is presence? I'm just going to move this chat. Yeah. So what is presence? So it's a combination of many things. And we're not going to focus on mastering these 4 qualities. The technique we're going to learn actually kind of bypasses this. So outward persona, it's like, how are you carrying yourself, your body, your language, your mannerisms, what you say, your presentation style. The inner state of being is, what are you grounded in? Are you grounded in a sense of confidence? Are you grounded in a sense of insecurity? Are you up here in your mind chatter? Or are you, yeah, what are the beliefs that you're holding in any given moment? Also, it's about your connectivity to others. So, your ability to genuinely connect, to listen, to be here in the moment, in the now. I just went to see Eckhart Tolle. Oh my gosh, talk about presence. That guy is here now. Amazing. And then your personal credibility. So your ability to demonstrate your competence, reliability, trustworthiness, that's kind of stuff that comes with experience. So this conglomerate of things kind of makes up your presence. And we're going to simplify all of that by coming into our bodies and seeing what of this we can achieve without thinking through these 4 things every time we stand up and want to speak. Okay. So the work that we're going to do is called, it comes from a body of work called The Art of Feminine Presence and The Art of Masculine Presence. And I teach this to men and women. And it's the teacher is Rachel Jane Groover. Highly recommend her work. And I'm now a certified teacher of this work. And I love bringing it everywhere, to engineers, to local governments, to anybody who wants to have me. So we're going to go into speaking from our head bubble, and what is that experience like? It's kind of where most of us hang out when we're talking with people, and then coming into our home space and speaking from that place. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about these, do a demo, and then send you into your small groups. And I just want to check on my time because I sense yeah, good. We're good. Okay, perfect. So head bubble, head bubble. You can probably imagine what this is like, but it's definitely like, I always picture like coming into a room, I haven't grounded myself, or I'm super nervous or anxious about something, and I'm speaking from that place. So it's like, it's up here in your throat, your energy is up here above your head. Versus coming into your home space. And the home space is a very sacred area. It is called the Dantian. It is called the Hara. It is called womb space. And it is a place where your essence and your life force is stored. And just to be able to locate this in your body, because I want all of you to go there right now, I'm going to stand up and hopefully you can still hear me. So this space is, so here's my belly button. Get out of my mic. Here's my belly button. It's about 3 finger widths below my belly button, right here, right here. And it's toward the back of your body. So low belly toward the back of your body. And just go there now. We'll just take a few deep breaths into that place. And what you're doing with your energy, and you're feeling your feet solidly planted on the ground, is you're drawing your energy down and back. Down and back. And this is an amazing place to come to anytime you're nervous and just really want to center yourself again. So just keep taking a few breaths into that place. And for those of you that aren't much into more of the spiritual realm, and your mind might be going, I'm really skeptical of all this. I love that. Be skeptical. And we're going to practice and just see what arises, you know? Okay. So I'm going to give you a demo, and then we're going to go into breakout rooms. You'll be in groups of 2, and you're each going to have 1 minute each to share. What do you do? What do you do in the world? Okay. Easy enough question, but it's one that trips me up for sure. So here's my head bubble. So hi, I'm Ame-Lia Tamburrini. I am the CEO of Hum Consulting, and I go into organizations and I really help them to create cultures of belonging. So we bring people together to have difficult conversations and teach people the agreements that we just worked with, curiosity and full acceptance of one another, so that people can hear each other more. So again, just notice what that was like to experience that. And now I'm going to go into home space. Hi, everyone. I'm Ame-Lia Tamburrini. I am the CEO of Hum Consulting, and Hum stands for harmony, unity, and momentum. And for me, that's what I believe the world needs more of these days. And it's what I like to bring into organizations, because those 3 qualities were not qualities that I was able to grow up with. And I believe that there is a need these days to be able to connect to folks on a deeper level. I popped out of my into my head bubble there right at the end. But just share in the chat if you can. What did you notice, if anything, in that moment? What shifted between the first go and the second go in terms of body language, words, how you felt toward me? Robotic, and you disconnected quickly. Yeah, fewer words in home space. Head bubble kept you in your head too. Yeah, more value, purpose, less elevator pitch, more approachable. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to now experience this for yourselves. Thanks for sharing what you observed. So this is your role. If you choose to accept it, you'll be in a partner, a pair, and we'll give you prompts in the chat in the breakout room. So this first time you're going to do exactly what I did. You're going to have 1 minute to tell the other person what it is you do for a living. Okay. The other person, you're paying attention to the tone of voice, the clarity, body language, how it is you feel. And then you're going to switch. You're going to allow the other person to speak in their head bubble. And then you're going to come back in here. I'm going to ground you into the home space, and you're going to go back out into your small groups and do the exact same thing. Share with the other person what you do, but from your home space. Okay. Any questions before we jump in? Clear as mud. We'll take Sark's wisdom. Anybody know Sark or read any of her books? Yeah, love Sark. There's no control, and perfection is arrogant. I love that. Practice messiness, letting go, and doing things badly. Well, if we all lived like that, wouldn't the world be a cool place? Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had as much fun as I did with Juliet. That was amazing. So I'm not going to debrief here. I want to just put you back right out into your pairs and have you in head bubble. So just do this with me for the moment you just kind of naturally sit up straighter, I find, and you're drawing that attention into your lower belly. So below your belly button, toward the back of your body, and just breathing into that space. And you might even want to picture something the size of the palm of your hand suspended there. And the energetic quality is you're coming down and back, down and back. And you're going to go back into your breakout rooms, and same thing. Share with each other what it is you do for a living, 1 minute each. And then you're going to have 2 minutes at the end to give each other feedback. What did you notice about each other? Okay. Sound good? All right. Okay. I see smiles on the faces. That is great. I would love to see some hands and just share. Yeah. What happened in there? What was that experience like for you? What did you notice? Yes, Kathleen, jump in.
Hi. Yeah, it was just it's just trying to focus to get out of that head space and into the home space. And just to take away just the information from the head space and put the feels in the home space, just to kind of just contribute why you're doing something, not just what you're doing. I think that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, interesting. You instantly, there's a deeper message there. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Kathleen. Annie.
Kathleen and I were together.
Okay.
And I noticed in the head bubble, there was more like doing talk, like what we do. And in the home space, I noticed Kathleen really talking about what she was passionate about in her work. And that inspired me in my framing when I went second in home space. And it was more of like first, like the what in the head bubble and the why in the home space. I think, yeah, that was what I missed.
That's a beautiful distinction because we get so focused on telling people what we do. People don't care. But they care about why you do it. That's what's going to open up a conversation. I love that. Ria.
I was the first one to speak with Amina, and as we were sharing this second time, we're both a little bit shy in the beginning, and then the second part, I told her, "Did you notice the leadership in your tone on this one? Did you notice how you're, giving a lot more?" And sometimes it only takes one person to tell us, "Hey, I believe in you," and then our powers come out. That's just how I felt speaking to her, and we had a lot of common ground as well with family situations, so it was great, and we shared a lot. So back to you. And yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah. Annie, that's such a contrast to what I've been told. You need to tell people what you do. Yeah. Yeah. What came out of our group as well was this, like the use of buzzwords dropped away. Like these big words that we're all using now, like authenticity and empowerment and all of this, like those aren't landing for most folks anymore because we're just hearing them so much. It's noise. They're great words. But when you hear something too much, it just drops its meaning. And so what we found was like, yeah, when Juliet started speaking from home space, there were no buzzwords. There were heart words. There were like words I could connect to. Well done, everyone. Thanks for playing full out in that experience. I'm going to transition into like, yeah, what are you taking away from this hour, this conversation? And I believe that we come into spaces to get what it is we need in any given moment. Maybe home space wasn't what you need, but it was some other gem that came up in your conversation. So what is it that you're taking away with you? And then I'm going to share with you a little bit of home play for you to practice this. Thanks. And if anybody wants to unmute and share, I'm open for that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this whole concept of professionalism is so stifling to our life force. And people are attracted to our life force energy. Yeah. Juliet, come on in.
I was going to type this in the chat, but I'm going to challenge myself and say it out loud. I feel like in the home space, I am definitely a lot less cringy and more confident, which is funny because usually when you learn how to introduce yourself as an entrepreneur or a small business owner, you're really told to learn your elevator pitch and be very pretty much in your head bubble. So that's what I was putting a lot of energy towards when I was trying to introduce myself, thinking that was the right thing to do. But I'm a lot more proud of myself what I'm doing from the home space, and I feel more true to myself too. Like I don't feel like I'm lacking skills or that I'm lacking knowledge or that somebody's going to think that, yeah, she's kind of an idiot,
Yeah, there's that groundedness in confidence, which is just, yeah, amazing. Yeah, big hearts going on here. I love it. I love it. Sarah, come on in. I'm going to share my screen, but please share, please.
I love how you just said heart words. I feel like sometimes I use those in my own business, but sometimes I hold back on the heart words with the Bovell, like with the chamber work. And I feel like that's where the goodness is, and that's who I am. So thanks for that reminder.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Yeah. So I invite you to pick a conversation or a situation where you want to bring this into. So you're going to like put it into practice right away, because the more you practice this, the more it'll just become your natural way of being, where you're not going to have to intentionally bring yourself down into home space. But certainly in the situations where you're more anxious, that intentionality is going to need to be there. And just start noticing, oh, I'm in my headspace. Oh, I'm in my home space. Oh, I'm in my headspace. And be observant of what the impact is of that. You know, is that person just totally checked out of what you're saying? Oh, well, where am I right now? Oh, I'm in my headspace. Come on down. Okay. And that's it. I think my contact information is in the chat, but big thanks to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored to be here, honored to be in this space with all of you amazing women who are doing awesome work in the world. And thanks for showing up and participating, and for your presence today. Yeah.